spring flows to the river and the river to the sea. Which way are we going? It don't matter to me. The road becomes a highway that seems to never end. I think of where I'm going, I think of where I've been. Rain kiss the flowers and the mountains hug the sky. Mother shall have us all someday when we die. Why not get together? Let's you and I be friends. We might never meet again. Willow creepings to the wind as a friend does for a friend. When drying rain falls from the sky, a summer breeze moves in. Take away the clouds of rain, leave a clear blue sky, and the weeping willow need no longer cry. A blind man can find a home as some things he can see. Reflections on the water, I see that you see me. Deserts of time will sometimes pass us by, but your eyes look so blue, I wonder why. Rain kiss the flowers and the mountains hug the sky. Mother shall have us all someday when we die. Why not get together? Let's you and I be friends. We might never meet again. We might never meet again.
yesterday. She stayed with me just long enough to rescue me. And she told me a story yesterday about the sweet love between the moon and deep blue sea. Then she spread her wings high over me. She said she's gonna come back tomorrow. Then I said, fly on, my sweet angel. Fly on through the sky. Fly on, my sweet angel. Forever I'm gonna be by your side. We're over the rainbow, way up high. There's a land that I heard of. Now I'm in Sitka, and that's why. Sure enough, this morning came unto me silver winged silhouette against a child's sunrise. And my angel, she said unto me, today is the day for you to rise. Take my hand, she said that I would stand. That's when I rise. And that's when she took me high over yonder. Then I said, fly on, my sweet angel. Fly on through the sky. Fly on, my sweet angel. Forever I will be by your side.
Above 55 degrees latitude on the Western Hemisphere, stretching from lush rain-drenched valleys on its Pacific coast to the northern reaches of its frozen, windswept slopes above the Arctic Circle, lies America's true last frontier. 586,000 square miles that have captured the collective imagination of a new breed of frontiersman, adventurer, miner, settler, and modern-day trailblazer. A raw and wild wilderness adventure beckons around every bend in the river and over the crest of every snow-covered peak on the horizon. This is a journey into the vast beauty and wonder of the great land. These are sights and excitements of Alaska. The first contact that most modern-day travelers make with the state of Alaska is what they see from the air on their flight out of Seattle. For the wide coastal vistas from shipboard as they travel the inside passage up through the bays and waterways of the southeast. Ketchikan, Sitka, the state's capital, Juneau, Haines, and Skagway all have their own special flavors as you move north and west, unlocking the secrets of Alaska. It's impossible to take Alaska casually. It's too big, too wide, too deep, and too wild. So pack your gear and get ready for an adventure. This is not a passive voyage of the imagination. This is going to be a first-hand, personal trip and experience into a real and natural wonderland. Alaska lies just ahead of us. In Prince William Sound, at the end of a 30-mile-long fjord named the Valdez Arm, lies the northernmost ice-free port on the American continent. In the 1890s, Valdez was a port of no return for gold-fevered prospectors and adventurers as they landed on these shores to begin the long overland trek into Alaska's interior gold fields. Today, Alaska's modern wealth in crude oil flows in the opposite direction, with Valdez being the terminus for the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, delivering over 1 million barrels of crude oil every day after its 800-mile journey from the Arctic drilling rigs at Prudhoe Bay. Oil tankers, fishing vessels, cruise ships, and pleasure craft of all types and descriptions now travel the Valdez Arm, in and out of one of the most beautiful natural harbors in the world. A short 4-hour charter cruise to the west, out of the Valdez Harbor, moves past quiet coastal hamlets through the natural habitat waters of a variety of sea-living mammals and fishes, like sea lions, otters, and porpoise. And eventually brings you face to face with one of the grand natural wonders of the world we live in, Columbia Glacier. This monumental flow of ancient ice forms almost 50 miles inland on the slopes of the 12,000-foot Mount Witherspoon, moves only inches per year toward its terminus in Prince William Sound. In the Chugach Mountains alone, over 8,000 square miles are covered by glacial ice flows. Every day, tons of ice calve off the sheer front wall of Columbia Glacier, only to drift off into cold sea waters in the form of floating bergs. It's an unforgettable experience, a confrontation with natural geologic forces on the magnificent scale. The trip out of Valdez puts you immediately on a sharp climb into the Chugach Mountains as you travel the original route of the turn-of-the-century gold seekers. Today, it's called the Richardson Highway. This dramatic beginning of the trip north to Alaska offers immediate rewards of the beauty and splendor of dozens of waterfalls you'll pass along the way, and almost as many glacier flows as you travel into Alaska's interior. Ask any fisherman why someone would want to come to Alaska. The answer will probably be king salmon. Down the north slopes of the Chugach and into the valleys of the Chitna and Copper Rivers is where you'll find some of the best king salmon fishing in the world.
Ooh, man, that's a biggie. That's a biggie. That's a biggie.
Travel farther north past the dominating 14,000-foot peak of Mount Wrangell, and you begin to see the snow peaks of the Alaska Range. As you move from Golconda north to Delta Junction, the Richardson Highway now carries you into the magic of Alaska. Broad, wild valleys, large animals and small, delicate mountain flowers, and majestic 17,000-foot snow-capped mountain peaks. This is the wonder the world has come to know as the Great Land. The town of Delta Junction lies in the broad Tanana River Valley, where the famed Alaska-Canadian Highway finally reaches the Richardson after its miles-high pass over the Alaska Range. It's in the Delta area that you'll find an industry that seems oddly out of place in this otherwise wild country. That industry is farming. Huge barley fields cover the landscape, and the Delta farmers continue to battle Alaska's wet spring weather, short growing season, and early snows, hoping barley production will take a foothold in Alaska's wide-ranging economic structure. Of course, the farmers aren't the only Alaska residents interested in the barley grown in the fields. The Delta Junction bison herd also takes a keen interest in the easily accessible high-protein food supply. Many a farmer's day's been ruined upon waking in the morning and finding a small group of these shy animals grazing his precious crop. The first of Alaska's buffalo were transplanted from Montana in 1928, and in 50 years the original small group of 20 have increased their numbers to a present level of over 700 animals. Natural migration and subsequent relocation efforts have resulted in the creation of 5 major herds in various areas throughout the state. Wherever you find people raising families and building their futures together, you also find them nurturing a community spirit and celebrating the best times in harvest fairs and summer parades. And Delta Junction's no exception for Alaskans who have made it their home. This is the beginning of Alaska's great interior. The unbridled power of Alaska's great rivers. And the almost unlimited wealth of Alaska's timber and mineral resources. One of the most popular sport recreation activities for Delta Junction residents and their visitors is the popular fly-in fishing trip for Alaskan northern pike. Local bush pilots and fishing guides know just where to find the remote lakes, rivers, and shallow sloughs that serve as summer feeding waters for the northern pike. This kind of action makes for a great sport fishing experience. These sharp-toothed monsters commonly grow to 15 pounds after 20 years in these waters. However, 30-pound trophy catches measuring 4 feet in length have been recorded. One of the great mysteries of the natural world is the annual migration of salmon from the sea into the upper river spawning areas of their youth. Alaska's river systems are abundant with varied species of salmon, like these red salmon, making their homing treks into rivers and streams throughout the state. Alaska's skies are home to one of the most majestic birds ever to spread its wings, the beautiful bald eagle, or American eagle. This bird has achieved the status of a national symbol, probably for its sheer grace and style as it soars over treetops and rocky ledges. The largest game bird in Alaska is the grouse, and there are several variations. The blue grouse in the southeast, spruce and ruffed grouse in the interior, and sharp-tailed grouse in higher elevations of the northern regions. Grouse populations rise and fall over the years. Since they aren't heavily hunted over large areas, these fluctuations are more likely due to cyclic changes in climate, food supply, cover conditions, and the abundance of natural predators. Rapid population changes among ptarmigans still remain a mystery. In the autumn, flocks form and disperse and form again. And in October, the females tend to form flocks that drift down into brushy forest openings, while the male cocks stay close to the timberline. The extent of fall movement varies from one place in the state to the next, with migrations of up to 150 miles. The gentle beast of Alaska, the North American moose, is a close relative of its smaller cousin, the elk. Its broad, pendulous muzzle is perfectly designed for grazing on soft water plants in shallow ponds and sloughs, and its long, gangling legs make it a snap for strolling through thick underbrush of Alaska's flatlands. Moose seem gentle enough and will almost always slip off into the bushes when aroused. But every Alaskan knows that you never get between a cow and her calf unless you want to tangle with a 1,000-pound mama. And you always drive the highways of Alaska with one eye toward the side of the road, looking out for that one moose who just might want to meet you head on. After you've visited this country, who knows? You might go home with a moose story all your own. Leaving Delta Junction, you've got good roads and beautiful scenery ahead to Fairbanks. And you can look for a distinctive man-made landmark that stretches all the way from Valdez to the cold waters of the Arctic Ocean, the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. It's a world-class feat of human engineering. The pipelines become as much a part of Alaska's scenery as its rivers, wildlife, and mountain ranges. Since men and women first began to populate Alaska's interior thousands of years ago, the wide, rambling Tanana and Yukon rivers were, and continue to be, major transportation highways. The Tanana flows north and west out of the base of the Alaska Range over hundreds of miles of glacial and gravel deposits carried along in its current from ice flows on distant mountain slopes. As the waters of the Tanana pass modern-day Fairbanks, it takes on the gentler flow of the Chena River, casually turning to the west. After more than 500 meandering miles amid tumbling gravel, glacial silt, seasonal quicksand, and shifting sandbars, the Tanana finally reaches its destiny, the mighty Yukon. The greatest of the northern rivers, the Yukon stretches from Canada's Yukon Territory through the 1,400 river miles that span the width of the state of Alaska, finally flowing into the salt waters of the Bering Sea. These majestic rivers of Alaska's interior, after thousands of years of carrying winter snowmelt, crumbled mountain rock and ice, and the interior summer rains down to the sea, have in recent years become the speed track for the longest riverboat race in the world, Alaska's Yukon 800. Men and women willing to meet the challenge of these mighty rivers design shallow draft, flat-bottom riverboats to battle the rigors of the turbulent and often dangerous riverways. The Yukon is a 2-day, flat-out, high-speed, full-throttle battle between determined drivers and crew, highly tuned engines, battered hulls, and the ever-changing waters of the rivers. The result? A fast, pounding 400 miles from Fairbanks to Galena on the first day, and a grueling 400-mile return trip the following day. The prize for all the crews that finish the race is the satisfaction of knowing that they met the challenge of Alaska's rivers. Fairbanks, the second largest city in the state. It's a place of deep contrast and contradictions. It's a modern metropolis packed with shopping malls, fast food restaurants, movie theaters, and traffic jams. And it's a frontier town thriving on the northern edge of modern Western civilization. Today, Fairbanks is an international trading and transportation center, while at the same time its people take great pride in its colorful history as a rough-and-tumble gold rush town. Every summer, Fairbanks residents join together for the week-long Golden Day celebration, reliving their gold rush past. You'll find dance hall girls and gun-toting marshals presiding over the grand parade. Boom or bust, rain or shine, the annual parade marches on.
to be all aboard. We're going to be backing down, folks, getting ready to turn around. I'm going to introduce our crew in just a little while. There are several things I want to point out to you. First of all, like our...
But of the golden days of Alaska, as the gold itself, were the steam-powered riverboats, the paddle wheelers that brought prospectors, merchants, and settlers to the great frontier. Today, they still ply the waterways, only now their cargo is tourists, who themselves provide Alaska a modern-day gold rush. Aboard the stern wheelers, tourists get a real taste of Alaskan heritage during their backcountry cruise. Just above the Arctic Circle, lying on the banks of the Yukon River, only 100 minutes north of Fairbanks by air, you can visit the Athabaskan village of Fort Yukon. Athabaskan occupation of this settlement goes back hundreds of years to the very earliest memories of legend and history. And in the present-day Fort Yukon Museum and Community Church, one can find the finest examples of Athabaskan handcrafts and needlework. For many travelers who visit Alaska, Fairbanks is the end of the road in their northern trek. They'll stay a few days, sample its unique character, then turn south toward Anchorage or Haines. But Fairbanks is a frontier town, and for those who are looking for something truly extraordinary from their Alaska experience, Fairbanks becomes a stepping stone to the grand wilderness that lies still farther to the north, the Brooks Range. The staggering grandeur of this range of mountains can overwhelm even the most seasoned traveler. Their broad expanse spans the distance from horizon to horizon. With peaks reaching the soaring height of Mount Michelson's 9,239 feet. Native villages occasionally dot the landscape, sometimes at a distance of hundreds of miles from one settlement to its nearest neighbor. And hunting and fishing the bountiful wildlife are the main occupations of the people who settle here. Travel and access to this wild land is accomplished in only three ways: on the river in the summertime, by foot in the winter months, and of course, the famed Alaska bush pilot. The first airplane was flown to Fairbanks in the 1930s, and from that early beginning, it was apparent that flying in was made for Alaska. Flying in to fish or to hunt, or flying in to deliver your mail or your monthly supplies of salt and flour has become as common to Alaska's bush as driving to the corner store in the lower 48 suburbs. And the men who make it possible are Alaskan bush pilots. Flying small planes like this Super Cub, loaded with passengers and cargo, they'll land with the snow skis in the winter and floats or balloon tires in the summer. Fly with an Alaskan bush pilot long enough, and eventually he'll show you how to put a plane down in places that you didn't think an airplane should be. Flying the Brooks Range is dangerous business, the terrain treacherous, the weather constantly changing. But if you ever have the opportunity, it's easy to understand how the reward of this experience outweighs the associated risk. Boundless open spaces, bold, snow-capped, rugged horizons, barren, endless vistas. This is the raw, natural face of Alaska. And the wild creatures that populate the mountains, woodlands, rivers, and tundra are the heart and soul of this great land. Throughout the state, roaming over high-ground tundra, grazing on succulent vegetation in the summer and tree moss, lichens, and sedges during the winter months, are Alaska's majestic caribou. More than 400,000 of these large, stout members of the deer family migrate across vast distances from spring calving grounds through summer grazing land. As they move, the bulls and some of the young animals follow far to the rear and scatter widely during the seasonal treks. Caribou are the only members of the deer family in which both the males and females grow antlers. The cows with the shorter, slender, irregular displays, and the bulls with their large, massive racks. By late in August, the velvet begins to shed from the antlers of large bulls, and early September marks the approach of rutting season. Feeding temporarily stops, and increased aggressive behavior gives way to open combat. Though these confrontations are usually brief, it's not uncommon for them to end in serious injury. This is an annual ritual that's been played out by the ancestors of Alaska's caribou for thousands of years. White specks on a rocky ledge, moving with a sure-footed agility unsurpassed in this world of broken granite and quartz crystals, these are the fanciful Dall sheep of the Alaska Range. Grazing on the sparse grasses, alpine willow, and pulpy taiga vegetation available on mountainside pastures, they seem to enjoy looking down on their domain from the sky-high vantage point of their home. Dall sheep thrive on an abundant food supply during the warm months of summer, but long nights of late autumn bring harsh conditions of bitter cold and deep snow. Their survival through the Arctic winter depends upon moving to high peaks where strong winds blow the snow cover away from dry grasses, and the rugged terrain offers sanctuary from their natural predators. Lambs are born weighing 5 to 6 pounds and can grow to 10 times this weight through their first summer. Average life expectancy among Dall sheep may be 12 to 15 years. One species among all the variety of wildlife that Alaska has to offer has become the center of folklore, legend, and tall tales that seem to have no end. In the case of the grizzly, it's easy to imagine that even the most outlandish stories could be true, because the brown bear is the world's largest carnivore, and it moves through this land with an unpredictable disposition that demands caution and deserves great care when the chance for a possible encounter arises. Here, in his world, he's threatened by no other creature, and when aroused or unwisely approached, he fears nothing. In the autumn, before hibernation, adult males can approach a weight of 900 pounds, and in coastal regions where a food supply of fish is abundant, very large individuals have been measured weighing at 1,400 pounds. On the tundra, these adaptable giants graze on berries and nuts and dig for small ground-dwelling animals. Ranging in color from dark brown to light blonde, grizzlies are unmistakable with their shoulder hump, blunt, massive head, and long claws. Their fearsome reputation throughout Alaska's wilderness seems justified when stories are told after the sometimes brutal results of their encounters between man and grizz. Like hungry bears pulling sleeping campers from their torn tents, or angry females charging to protect their young. More often, if care is taken when passing through bear country, an encounter will end with a massive animal rising to his full height to sniff the breezes, then casually turning to avoid confrontation. A lone grizzly ambles off over a distant velvet rise. A pair of caribou pass by, always in search of fresh grazing on tundra slopes that seem to stretch from here to eternity. Fox peer from dense foliage, curious, cautious, hidden in a blanket of natural camouflage. A bull moose turns toward the distant brush, quietly slipping away as if a vivid dream, so real, then gone forever. When you travel the north wind and follow the stars in the sky, and the long winding river flows down the valleys so wide, you'll find yourself in Alaska. The dream is coming true. The spirit of a great land is waiting here for you. Just pack your bags and follow the trail to the end of the line. You'll find yourself in Alaska. The dream has become yours and mine. We hope you've enjoyed this brief taste of some of the sights and excitements Alaska has to offer. And we at Caribou Video look forward to future opportunities for you to travel with our camera crews through the great land. Our next video release, scheduled for distribution in January 1988, will be a video tour guide designed to be an information-packed travel aid for anyone interested in experiencing the best Alaska has to offer. We'll take you on a first-hand driving trip through Alaska from the Canadian border into the golden heart of our state. Along the way, you'll learn where to find lodging, campsites, groceries, vehicle repair facilities. We'll introduce you to the fishing guides, pilots, and hunting guides who really know where to go for that trophy catch and the hunting experience of a lifetime. On the way, we'll look even deeper into the wilderness areas of the state, show you the special excursions and tours that you won't want to miss when you make this trip yourself. Look for Caribou Video's Alaska Tour Guide, coming soon.